when I would see the ministers on TV talking about needing private jets or wearing $1,000 sneakers, it just sort of is like, I don't know, it just makes you kind of like, oh, that's crazy. What do the people in the congregation think about that? Or like, what do they think about that? Do they, and that was sort of the genesis for the whole show. It was like, how does somebody go from like being compelled to kind of like spread the word of God to sort of like standing for like capitalism and commerce and making tons of money? Like, where does that transition happen? Was it always there? Was it always the goal? Or did it get morphed along the way? And also, I think the family dynamic is compelling for me as a writer. It's like I grew up with two siblings, and I like seeing storylines that revolve around siblings and how you're, as much as you might hate them or not get along with them, you're stuck with them, and you have to fucking pass through life with them, and they're going to be at every holiday, and they're going to be there, and I like that. I think it's a fun dynamic to explore.
Cassidy, en tu caso, ¿qué fue lo más interesante de trabajar en este contexto de la religión y en ese tema de las megaiglesias?
I think it's interesting how the reaction that we do get from the religious community. And like Danny said this before, but so rarely do we make religion the actual butt of the joke. And so you might think that people who are religious or have faith would find our show like unappealing or rude, but actually I think they find it more relatable and humorous in that we're highlighting the hypocrisy. We're highlighting the parts that are kind of fantastical or like ridiculous rather than the actual idea of faith. And I don't know, when we're shooting sometimes and we have like a lot of background, a lot of people like in the church, and we're doing a sermon. This is like in all the different churches we've worked in. There are people in the audience that are like so invested. There's a magic to belief. There's a magic to faith that I think is really cool. And not being raised in a church, I don't know, I get a cool insight into those moments where there's sometimes when I actually feel like I am in church when we're filming those scenes. It's powerful.
En esta temporada, los hermanos Gemstone finalmente consiguen lo que tanto buscaban. ¿Qué impacto tuvo este cambio en ellos?
I think that it was like very easy for the Gemstone kids to talk a big game when they didn't really have any real responsibility, and I think now they're in this position where they have to step up. They've wanted this. It's their time to kind of shine. And I think all of them are sort of realizing that they might not be like fully equipped for this position. And is, it's just that age old thing of like, be careful what you wish for, and I think that's what sort of they're all in their own way kind of dealing with this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's kind of found her way. She's trying to find her places where she can influence the church, where she can influence the whole congregation, the people in the congregation that maybe need her as a mentor, specifically like women or wives, people concerned about relationships. And it's also like her relationship to Jesse and how she can best support him, how she can best show up, not only as sort of a trophy wife or a pretty sidearm piece, but also someone who's a team with him. If they are going to get more power, more control over the church, what is her role in that? She probably doesn't think that his siblings are as qualified as she is or as capable as she is. And so I think it's also a balance of supporting the family while also trying to show that she's actually a pretty great choice for runner-up.
Algunos personajes en la serie son tan caóticos y un poco difíciles de querer, pero ¿qué es lo que más aman y qué es lo que más odian de los roles que han interpretado?
Oh, man. Sometimes I have a hard time with how hard Amber is on Gideon. She really has these expectations of him, and sometimes there's like the mother in me wants her to go like, go be stuntman, go do what you need to do, but he's needed, and I think she wants him close as part of the family dynamic. And what I love about Amber is that she has this super long fuse. She has so much patience, and she really keeps it under wraps, but then when the bomb goes off, it's like really fun, and I like that about her. Unpredictability.
I feel like there's a lot to hate about Jesse, but I feel like the thing that's the most grating is probably his entitlement and sort of this sort of sense of what he thinks he deserves for how little he sort of like puts out there. that's a pretty shitty aspect to a personality. But I do feel like at the end of the day, I feel like under it all, I do think that Jesse wants to be better. And I think that he doesn't have the tools necessarily to always express that or to always act upon it. But I think he does feel remorse and guilt when things like spiral out of control. And I just find characters like that endearing, of somebody who has an idea of what the right thing to do is, but they're not equipped to do it.